Welcome to the show, where today we are continuing our list on the coronavirus, but we can't do it because we're having some technical difficulties. We've got a few on Wednesday. But in the spread of this, we first had COVID-19, now we had the spread of racial. George Lucas died. George Lucas, remember him? He died because an officer was kneeling on him, and that brought racial integrity all the way from Minnesota here in Texas, where yesterday people in downtown were protesting. It's the same thing like at the graduation, and it's wrong. Even though the First Amendment says you have the right to do whatever you want, protesting leads you to be arrested for disturbing the peace, riots, fires, everything. Just look what happened to the LA riots. If you look at what happened to the LA riots, you don't need to be up in this mess. And if you realize you don't want to end up in this mess, you don't have to go to jail. If you don't want to go to jail, you have to be a good person. If you want to be a good person, etc. So it's basically what needs to happen here is that it should be illegal to protest. Why? Think about it. It's disturbing the peace. So here's what happened. George Lucas was out of breath, so the officer kneeled, choking up his glance. And out of those, three or four officers were fired. One was arrested for attempted murder. All of the attorneys could not comment on this because of the issue here. If it's still being brought up before a judge, then it's still being brought up before a judge. There's nothing you can do about this except look at facts here. So if you were to just look at the facts here, the officers were fired, one of them's going to jail, and then it's all white people just going out there protesting. This ain't about race. This is about somebody trying to pin down somebody. If someone's trying to pin down somebody, just use the hand. You don't use the knee. If you're going to arrest someone, if you're going to arrest someone, what needs to happen here is that you need to make sure, what you need to do is make sure that you know what you're doing. Just realize something. You just don't want that to happen to you again. If it happens again, you will be arrested and then you will be fired from the force. And you'll never be a cop again. Now, let's move on to something else. Months ago, I told you, 2 months ago, we brought you a Give Me a Break investigation into a young man. To a man named Zax, a YouTuber with over a lot of subscribers, who was arrested for computer crime in the fifth degree, conspiracy to commit computer crime in the fifth degree, and breach of peace. Now this is all over the news. In fact, there were two victims in this case. Jack Doherty was one of them because of his associate. Now, so we don't know what's going to happen next for this case. If this case is going to court, which it is, today is June 1st, so if this case is going away to court, we will know what's happening. Because he's under 18, he cannot speak to the police. But what we know so far is that today is his court date. We don't know if he's going to be releasing video footage of what happened in the courtroom or if anything is going to happen. We don't know if anything else is going to happen. So we'll know until the judge decides what to do with him, because he's a juvenile. And the most place for juveniles is in juvie hall. He's in juvenile jail, or JJ. So what really needs to happen here is that Zach needs to face justice. So does Jack. He needs to be brought up, go to Zach's state, Zach's hometown, go to court and say, look, and apologize to the school district in person, because I think the school district will be there, and yet they will know what's happening. They need to understand that if you do something wrong, there's consequences. And Zach goes to school, and if they would have found out that he did this, I mean, the cops have the original video. They blocked it out. Now, to all of this that happened, it was all over the news. So now we know. So today, he's going to court, and we will find out for sure whether he's guilty or not. That would have to be for the judge to decide, and whether he's expelled from school or not. Or whether Jack's expelled from school because of all this. We'll have to find out when that time comes, so we'll keep you posted here. We'll keep you posted here. Alright, we're going to take a break. Next, since this is not working, coming up, we're going to give you some updates on our previous topics that we brought you, and bring you up to date with some new ones. And let's get this thing fixed up after the break. Alright, well, this thing's zoning up. Let's move on to some other topics that we can talk about. Now, years ago, I talked to you guys about how it's bad to flip off a cop, even though it's protected by the First Amendment. I mean, freedom of speech means you can just say whatever you want. That's not true. You can't say whatever you want. You can't say, like I told you before, you can't scream fire in a crowded theater. You can't scream fire in a crowded theater. People could be trampled and you'd be liable. Fighting words are illegal. You tell fires, beat that guy up, and they do, you're in trouble. So, is it wrong to flip off a cop? Yes, it is. It's an improper hand signal. You could be pulled over for that. Flipping off the cops, saying F the police, stuff like that. You could be arrested. And yet, just this year, a video was posted about a person who flipped off a cop, and then this officer was yelling at him. Was the officer punished? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know if the officer was punished or not. And if he was punished, he would just face the consequences. Like, I don't care if the Supreme Court said you can flick a cop off. I don't know anything about that. I don't care what the Supreme Court says. What I care about is just you not flipping off police officers. That's what I care about. It is wrong to flip off cops, and it's just wrong. I mean, it's just not right. You can't be flipping off people. It's not right. The bird cannot be flipping people. You flip off the bird people. It's not right. Alright. Last week I talked to you guys about dress code. I mean, let me tell you something. The reason why I've been talking about dress code is just because the whole reason why dress code is being put in place by every school district is because it's to teach people, we're trying to show them that they're teaching students that when you leave school, you're going to have to look your best when you go apply for jobs and or college. But first, let's read the very list on the coronavirus. No new cases for travel, person-to-person close contact, no new cases. Transportation, one's under investigation. No new cases of deaths. New tests, 425. That's for yesterday. We won't know the very latest till today. Now we're going to do George Lucas again. No, George Floyd. Did I say George Lucas? I'm sorry for what I meant. I mean, there was a lot of protest here. I mean, the New York Times listed an 8-minute and 46-second video about how he was killed from the New York Times. He was killed in police custody. They have reconstructed, the New York Times has reconstructed the death of George Floyd on May 25th. Security footage, witness videos, and official documents show a series of actions. I mean, this was happened on May 25th. They were accused of buying cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill. By contributing videos, the New York Times reconstructed detailed events leading to Mr. Floyd's death. The video shows officers taking series this video will explain. They were kneeling on people. I mean, if a white person did it to a black person, I mean, don't you think it's racist? I'm not going to bring race into this. This has nothing to do with race. This is about not learning about the proper arrest. If you were in the police force, they would teach you how to arrest someone. You pin them down, hands behind your back, pin on the legs that they don't know, that they don't go, hands behind your back, there. You don't just go, and then, that's not how it works. The way you do this is for your knees to be on the leg, for your knees to be on the other person's legs. On the side. Then you can handcuff them. But what they did was wrong. He couldn't breathe. So I'm glad that those officers charged him. Because I'm glad those officers decided to be fired. And that was a tough decision there. If you want to see New York Times, subscribe to New York Times, or head to the down in the description below to see that video. Words are powerful. I mean, words are words, bullets are bullets. Okay, so we just gave you some updates. We gave you the death of George Floyd. Gave you a little bit of the updates. We're not done with these updates. Alright, coming up here, I'm going to tell you from years ago, I told you about no trespassing. And yet people are still trespassing, even though the sign says no trespassing. I'm talking about skateboarders here. I'll tell you about that when we come back. So basically, we'll give you a 2-part series on skateboarders trespassing on private property. It is wrong. You can't trespass private property. I saw people skateboarding on school property, which the sign says no skateboarding. And yet they did it anyway. I saw them leave and they said, you work for the school. I'm like, that's none of your business. I mean, if you're in a bluff, you see me walking down the street and I see you skateboarders trespassing on private property, I will tell you to get off that property. If you refuse, I will bring the police on the phone and say, hey, those guys are trespassing, can you do something about it? And then, because I don't talk to juveniles. If someone's older than that juvenile, then I can talk to them and say, look, tell your friends that you're not allowed to be here because you cannot be trespassing. If I have to tell you again, I will call the police. I don't care if you used to go to school here. I don't care. And I don't want to bring your parents in, and I don't want to bring parents in this situation, but parents, you need to teach your kids that it's wrong to trespass, that it's illegal. You trespass, you could be arrested. Seriously. When the sign says no trespassing, you don't trespass. Period. No buts or excuses. There's a skate park down Graham Road. There is a skate park right there in Graham Road. If you use that skate park, then it's a welcome skateboard. No buts about it. Everyone's a winner. Everybody can be happy. But no, they just want to do something. But still, why is skating legal? Because skateboarding is a dangerous activity. Laws just regulate, ban, and control skateboarding in certain locations. Like in San Francisco, California, state of California, it's illegal to skateboard. Alright. Now that we covered that, coming up, a brand new topic here. This one's all about videotaping the police. I think I talked to you about this before, but I might talk to you about it again. We'll tell you what you can do to how to avoid about this after the break. Look, y'all, I'm not in a position to give legal advice, but I do want to let all of you know out there the way that I handle videotaping. And that I mean audio videotaping the police. When a police officer approaches you and you have the camera out, there are several things. They tell you to shut off the camera, there are like several things you can do. I mean, Cooper Travers was arrested for wiretapping. There's a wiretapping law in New Hampshire that says you have to have the consent of all parties in order to record audio. If you don't have that consent, from the police in New Hampshire, so what can you do? Well, there are several options. If they tell you to turn off the camera, you say that you're not willing to comply, but you will. But if they tell you to turn off the camera, you will refuse to comply about the number. Like they'll ask you to turn off the camera. Like say, I'm not willing to turn the camera off, and then just say I'm willing to leave. They ask you, okay, turn off the camera, sir. It's like, I'm not going to turn the camera off, but I will leave. And there's other things you can do. I mean, if we had, this is taking so long forever, but if we had this up right now, we could show you. But with technical difficulties happening, I don't think we can show you. Next thing you do is turn off the camera, you can say okay, I'm turning off the camera under police orders or whatever. Like tell you don't post it on YouTube. If you don't get permission to post it on YouTube, I won't this is what happened. I told you about when February, I think it was 2 months ago, I told you about a meeting that I had with Dr. Freeman about his plan for police. I already recorded, he didn't know about it, and he was like, I said, okay, I will say, if you don't want it on there, I will delete this video by order of the superintendent. You have to comply with the order. If you don't comply with the order, So I'm going to find, so I think we got this working now. So I'm going to find that video. I think I remember the title. Come on. I'm like trying to find it. Here's what I'll do. Sorry guys, this is like taking a stinking while. There we go. So,
this edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by nhliberty.org. You're being audio recorded. I don't want to. I'm not in a position to give legal advice, but I do want to let all of you know a little bit about the way I handle videotaping. By that I mean the way I handle video and audio recording, police, bureaucrats, people who don't want to be video audio recorded, even though they're in a public place. It's a dicey situation in New Hampshire because we have a wiretapping law here that says you've got to have the consent of all parties in order to record audio.
How are you?
So,
I'm videotaping you and audio recording at this time.
when a police officer walks up to me and I've got my camera, I feel like I have several options. The most dangerous option, and the one I never choose, is to surreptitiously, secretly record the police. I don't know of any cases out on the sidewalks and streets where a person's been arrested for doing this, but some people interpret the wiretapping law as forbidding it. It would be conceivably a misdemeanor to do this. The second option, slightly less dangerous legally, is to have the camera out, inform the police that you're audio recording them, and then see how they respond. Oftentimes they'll tell you to turn off the camera, and again, if I'm using this, option number 2, I will refuse to comply with the order to turn off the camera, but I do that very openly and as respectfully as I can.
I'm asking you to turn your camera off, sir. Are you willing to comply?
I'm not willing to turn the camera off. I am willing to back up.
Are you willing to leave, sir?
Yes.
Okay. I'm asking you to leave. Good enough?
Hi.
This is only moderately dangerous, and I only know of one instance in which a person has been arrested for doing this. It was Cooper Travis over in...
So we're not going to go all the way here, but we know one case, Cooper Travis was arrested for wiretapping laws. And that happened because he refused to comply with the orders. We've run out of time. Tomorrow we're going to continue with this. And then, so we're running out of time, but we're going to start over with this tomorrow and give you some tips also if this happens to you. So we're running out of time here. We are going to start over tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Wednesday. And on Wednesday, we're going to have a special, Erica, my co-anchor, is going to be joining me. We're going to have a co-anchor. Her name is Erica. She's going to be joining. She's going to be sitting down with me right here, and then we're going to have a fun time together discussing all types of topics together. I hope you'll like her, you meet her, and give her a warm welcome. That's all the time I have that's all for this Human Monday. We'll see you again for Human Wednesday. at a regular time. I'll see you next time. I'll see you Wednesday. Have a good night, everyone.